I'm grilling the candidates, and tonight I'm grilling Kathy Harding. Kathy, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Grilling the candidates with
There we go.
Kathy. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
I am from a lot of different places. My father was a captain in the Navy, so we moved around quite a bit. When I was 17, I moved to Utah to attend BYU. I went there for 4 years and earned my degree in international relations. I met my husband my senior year. Lucky. We have been married for 38 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We have 5 married sons. I currently am a piano teacher. I have taught piano for 25 years, at least 25 years, probably way more. But I am a pianist, I'm a flautist, I sing. And maybe a fun little tidbit about me is about a year and a half ago, I started training in Muay Thai kickboxing.
Good for you.
So that's just kind of some fun stuff about me. You know, like a lot of the people that moved to Highland, we just really fell in love with the small community, you know, the small town feel, the larger lots, the parks and trails, and, you know, the outdoor kind of life. And we really have loved living here. It's been really a pleasure. So some of the things that influenced me to run for city council was one, my major. I got my degree in international relations, which is pretty much just political science on a global scale. So that's my interest. I have always served in my community and served my family. I've served in my church in leadership roles. I've served in my community. I've served in my children's schools. And so when I moved to Highland, I was looking for a place where I could be of value. And I started attending the city council meetings, and I listened and I learned about the issues. And when the opportunity arose, I felt like maybe this is the place for me. Maybe this is the place where I can be of value here. I think my travels, you know, as a child and living in lots of different places has given me an appreciation for how when a city is being well run and it provides an opportunity for the city to grow and be productive. And then I have seen the other side where cities have not been governed well and they don't enact good policy, and cities have not thrived as well and have kind of a negative impact. So I'm hoping that through my life experience there that I can bring some of that. Mentioned was zoning. You know, I think that that's a very important thing for the residents to be up on. We only have a few parcels left that haven't been developed yet, and so I think it's really important that we consider our general plan, which is the low density lots. But I think that the residents need to have a say.
You know, like one of the challenges is like Patterson Field. And
That's just heart-wrenching.
Yeah, and isn't that a beautiful property over there?
It is.
Here, doesn't it?
I pass by it every day. I live up in Beacon Hill, and I drive past there every day, and my grandkids, every time they're with me, Grandma, the cows are by the fence. Can we stop?
Right,
you know?
people stop and take pictures and
Yes,
stuff.
and so it is just going to be terrible when that property has to go, and I would love to see if we could figure out some way. If I had, you know, $1 billion or however much that property is worth, I would purchase it and give it to the city.
I can only imagine these days with property values what it's doing now. It's a nice one.
That's just going to be tough.
Yeah.
But I hope that when it is developed, that they take into consideration those emotions and sensitivity that the residents are going to have, and maybe make it a beautiful place that we can be proud of, and not put in a bunch of just, you know, 1,000 apartments or whatever.
Right.
And just make it really nice, because it's going to be tough when it happens.
Yeah. It will always frame the community one way or the other, and so I think that's why a lot of people look at that and say that's going to be an issue coming up.
Some of the other issues that I would like to address.
Yes,
is the open space issue.
Yeah.
You know, that's a big issue that
It
has
is.
been, it's kind of been around a long, you know, quite a long time.
Highland loves the idea of it, but
But
not all the residents who are
it's-
paying into it are in love with it.
It's a difficult thing to manage, you know, because each of those open space areas has differing concerns.
Right.
And trying to maintain the properties to the standard at which the trail, you know, that the people want those trails to be managed and maintained is difficult. And we, when talking with the mayor and the city manager and different people, they've just said, you know, the open space fee does not cover all the costs that it takes to maintain all those trails. And so I think that really needs to be addressed. I think the city council is doing a really great job though right now. I really commend them because they are trying to address the issue. They have, you know, you've been at city council and you know that this last city council, they addressed a lot of each personal, you know,
The orphan properties.
yes, the personal
Yeah.
properties that these people want to try to either purchase
That was
or
huge. It's been, we
Yeah.
were trying to figure it out 14, 15 years. You know.
well, and trying to deal with it one at a time,
Yeah.
it's a huge task. And
Right.
I commend them.
We
You know,
do.
I know that up where I live, my community is not the only people that use that space up there. And so I think that's the same for a lot of the other communities, that people who aren't living in open space do enjoy those areas and would not want to see them sold off.
Right.
And that's when, you know, the referendum that's on the ballot, the Wimbledon Trail referendum that's going to be on the ballot in November. I'm really concerned about that because it will set a precedence, you know, to
Yeah.
whether or not we're going to start selling off trails. And,
Exactly.
you know, I'd hate to see that happen
Right.
one trail at a time.
Right.
And so I think that we can find an answer. You know,
Sure.
I have lived in a community where we, as a community, would clean up the community. Different organizations would sign up, and if you had, say you had 100 people sign up as your organization, then the city would find something in the city that needed 100 people to work on it and clean it up,
Right.
or plant trees, or whatever the project was.
Yeah.
We would take care of it. We might work all day. Some people might come for an hour. And that really, it not only developed a sense of community, but pride in our community. And we would drive past wherever it was that we had worked for 8 hours that day and looked how beautiful and cleaned up we made it, and the trees we planted or whatever. And, you know, you had pride, and your children would come, and then they would have pride in their community. And
That
it's just
connection to community is so
Yeah.
important. It comes through service. That's a great idea.
It's serving our community. And so I don't know if something like that could happen to help save those trails, but I'd be willing to go out there. And I pay a $20 open space fee, and I appreciate living near my open space, but I would definitely serve my community by doing that cleanup. I think we're a community of service.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that there are a lot of residents who are looking for opportunities and would participate.
Like me.
Yeah.
Another issue that I'm really concerned about is our water issue. You know, Utah is expected, you know, during the Kempsey Gardner Public Policy Institute has predicted that Utah's population is going to be doubling by the year 2065. Utah County is expecting to have a million new residents. And although that sounds like a lot of people are going to be moving in from out of state, that's not necessarily the case. In reality, it's like 67% is our children and our grandchildren. And so with the rise in population, but our water is going to be remaining the same, our resources are going to be remaining the same, we're going to have to make some modifications in our water usage and the way we think about water. Because if we want our children and our grandchildren to remain here, we've got to find solutions. And so Highland, as a member of the community, has to do its part. And you were at the City Council a couple weeks ago when our superintendent of the pressurized irrigation superintendent, Jeff Murdoch, gave his presentation about how Highland was using so much more water than
We
all of
use
our
more than anyone else.
than anyone else. In Saratoga Springs, they use 2.6 acre feet per acre of water, and in Orem they use 4.3 acre feet per acre of water, and in Highland we use 6.2 acre feet per acre of water. And while of course those numbers show that we use more water than the other cities, I really wanted to know like, actually, how much water is that we're talking about?
Yeah.
And so I went to, when I don't know something, I go to people who do know something about it. So I went to someone that I know that is experienced in water. And so he tried to give me a visual of what that really meant and how much water that really was. And so he said, if you were to enclose your lawn, say in Saratoga Springs, Orem, and in Highland, with a plexiglass enclosure that was watertight,
Right.
and you turned your sprinklers on, they just used your normal sprinkling that you do with your sprinklers for your lawn from April until October, that enclosure for Saratoga Springs would fill up to, approximately 2.6 feet, about to here. And in Orem, the enclosure would fill to, about 4.3 feet. And in Highland, we would have 6.2 feet of water over that entire lawn.
Wow.
And so, that really made me think about how much water that really actually was. And then when he was talking about that we need to really take some measures to cut back and to conserve, they sent out these little cards to help to ask the residents to conserve by 30%. So if you were watering your lawn for 30 minutes, take it back to 20 minutes. And these are the type of modifications that we're going to need to make in the future.
Right. My experience is Highland residents will respond if they find out about it.
Well, and it's great to know that you're making a difference.
Yeah. Right.
That you were asked to do something, and what you did made a difference. So I think it's really important that we also, we always make sure that they know that, hey, we were asking you to do this, and you have achieved the goal. I feel like I offer my life experience. I have lived in a lot of different places and seen how things have been run. I have a background in international relations, which is political science. I have a desire to serve. When I first, I think I told you this, when I first moved here, I started attending city council. And so that shows that I do have an interest in the city and a desire to serve this city. And one really great thing is I have time. I'm not competing with a career right now. I have the time to study the issues and research, and I have time to visit with the residents and communicate with them and listen to their concerns. And I know that the city belongs to them, and I want to make decisions that reflect their values and their desires. And so I think those are some of the things that I bring to the table.
People want to find out more about you. How do they reach out to you or read more about you?
My website is hardingforhighland.com, and my Facebook page is Kathy Harding for Highland City Council. And I believe my Instagram is also Harding for Highland, so you can check out any of those avenues.
All right. Media. Well, Kathy, thanks for letting me grill you this evening.
You're welcome.
You ready to eat some steak?
I would love to. Thank you.